What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I'm your good friend and host, Corey Willis. Hope everyone is doing well on a Sunday evening. Hope you guys enjoyed a great week 2 of college football. We got a lot to talk about here on the Breakdown Sportscast. So, as always, guys, we appreciate you all coming in, watching the show on our live stream, and listening to us every week. So, I hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, we appreciate you all listening to the show, connecting with us. As always, you can find us on multiple social media platforms. You can find us at BD Sportscast on X, Instagram, and TikTok. You can just type in at BD Sportscast or just BD Sportscast, and you'll find our content there. If you want to listen to the podcast, you know where to find us. You can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're on Amazon Music, so definitely listen to our past and present episodes on there. And we are also, of course, if you're watching us on the YouTube or Twitch, that's where we simulcast our live podcast. So we appreciate you guys joining in wherever you're at on today's show. So feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the Breakdown Sportscast channel. Of course, it's definitely important for Chris and I as we continue on with building this community and building content for you guys here at the Breakdown Sportscast. And definitely tell your friends, definitely connect them with the show as well, because it's definitely important for Chris as we grow the show for the future. So, as always, guys, we very much appreciate you guys' support with the show. As always, guys, you know who I'm with. I'm with my good friend and co-host. He is Chris Bolton. Chris, what's going on, man? I think Chris is having a couple technical difficulties. We'll as we kind of wait for him to come back on with us. Guys, I hope everyone... Oh, there he is. Can you hear us, Chris?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Let's see.
All right, can you hear me?
Can't hear you, though.
What about now? Can you hear me?
Sorry, guys. Having just a couple
What about now?
difficulties. Try to
Can you hear me now?
rectify that. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys are doing well. Of course, on a Sunday, it was a great weekend of college football, of course. So many great games that happened this week. Oh, I think can you say something, Chris?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you now. Awesome.
Okay. I don't know what happened, but
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm ready. I'm ready to dive into this discourse we have, because week 2 did not disappoint. We said it could be the week of upsets, and boy, was it ever.
Yes, you're absolutely right, man. Just a bevy of news topics, stories, things that happen in week 2 of the college football season. And it's funny, Chris, because this was definitely a week where some people were scoffing at week 2. Some people were like, it's not really nothing to talk about this week. Boy, were they wrong. There was a lot to talk about.
They don't know ball.
They don't know ball.
Know ball. You can't just look at college football and look at the matchups and be like, it's a bunch of ranked teams playing each other, so it won't really be nothing happening. No. See, when you look at it that way, that's when we see stuff happen. That is the setup for something magical and crazy to happen. And we got all of that this weekend, Corey.
Absolutely. So, yeah, it was a great weekend of college football indeed. Are you ready to break it all down, Chris, on today's episode?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. You know I am.
Let's go ahead. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, a great weekend, great week 2 indeed, folks. Let's go ahead and go into it. Week 2 results. We'll go ahead and kick it off, Chris, with the game of the day. College game day was in Norman for this one. Oklahoma hosting Michigan. We had John Mateer, a seasoned veteran, taking on Bryce Underwood, a young up and coming quarterback, someone that we're going to be talking about a lot for some years to come in college football. I think this guy has generational talent, and yeah, it was a. It started off being an interesting game, but overall, Oklahoma won this game, Chris, 24-13. That was your final score in this ball game, and Oklahoma they showcased why they paid the money for a guy like John Mateer. They kept that defense looking strong throughout the offseason into this season. Yeah, they definitely showcased their talent in this ball game one Saturday, and they stopped a guy like Bryce Underwood, someone who is, young getting into this game, a guy that he definitely showed flashes that, he is a 5-star recruit, heading to a program like the University of Michigan. But, they showcased that they could stop a guy like Bryce Underwood. And, hey, shout out to Brent Venables. He drew up the plays that he needed to for this defense to stop a guy like Underwood, and they got the W overall. So, John Mateer, 21 for 34, 270 yards with a touchdown. He did throw a pick in the game. And, yeah, they just held Bryce Underwood at 9 for 24. I mean, he had a pretty terrible game in this one with 142 yards, no touchdown. So, overall, a great showing for the Sooners, Chris, by taking down the Michigan Wolverines, and now the Sooners can kind of breathe, take a little breather, but it won't be that long because in a few weeks they'll have a game against Auburn. So, what were your thoughts, Chris, overall about how the way Oklahoma played in this ball game?
Yeah, I thought Oklahoma played a good game. They look to be one of the better teams in the nation. I would say they are one of the top teams in the SEC. And I think that was on display. The defense exposed Michigan's weaknesses. They do need some guys at the skill positions, especially wide receiver. Haynes did have a huge 75-yard touchdown run for the Wolverines. That was the one time that Oklahoma really gave up a huge explosive play in the game. Outside of that, it was a rough night in the office for Michigan's offense. So, credit to Oklahoma's defense, and Mateer played like a seasoned vet. He played like the guy that you paid the money to bring in. Made some plays. He did have a mistake with the pick, but outside of that, he recovered well. Threw just an absolute rope after escaping out the pocket, and that 40-yard throw to down the sideline on the run, just making the plays that you want a quarterback to make, and showcasing why he possibly could win the Heisman this year, Corey. He has that moxie to him, that playmaking ability, and if he continues to play the ball he's been playing and the ball that we've seen him play prior to joining Oklahoma, the Sooners right there in the mix with anybody to win a national championship. Yeah, I'm thinking Oklahoma. Oklahoma's the real deal.
Yeah. I think Oklahoma showcased a lot of talent on Saturday, and like I said, hats off to the Sooners by stopping a guy like Bryce Underwood. Because man, can you imagine if they couldn't stop Bryce Underwood and he was just doing anything, carving up that defense from Oklahoma? Man, we would be singing a different tune right now on this podcast, talking about Brent Venables dropping the ball in a big game again, shocker, and not taking care of opponents that you would think he should take care of opponents, or in the manner that he should take care of them. I mean, he's there at Oklahoma for a reason. He's one of the best defensive minds in the country. Had he not took care of business, yeah, it would have been something else. But when you look at it, he did a really good job in slowing down that offense. And I'm sure Sharon Moore, he was thinking about this all week about what were the possibilities of that happening. And he probably looked on it. It was probably in a big percentage of Brent Venables definitely drawing up some plays to slow down Bryce Underwood and confuse him. Justice Haynes, he looked good. He was playing until the end, but overall they did stop him as well. But he did had a really good touchdown run in the ball game. So yeah, I think for Oklahoma fans, I'd definitely be satisfied with what you saw on Saturday. Next game up, you have, I think you have to travel to Temple. It's a weird game. Weird game next week, but I think you should handle Temple just fine. I'm liking what I'm seeing from John Mateer. And hey, it's like what you said, Chris. I mean, this is a guy they brought in to showcase that Heisman-esque quality on the field. And hey, he's definitely showing it right now. I'm definitely intrigued to see how Mateer gels more week to week with the Sooners and with his offense. So hats off to him. If you're Michigan, I wouldn't hang my head that low after a loss like this, because you got a young quarterback and this guy's only going to get better from here on out. So I would, and I'm sure Sharon Moore has already talked to him. Of course, don't feel bad at all. Like this, you're going to have a lot of these games, kid, and he's definitely going to get a lot of these opportunities going forward in his career. So you take the good with the bad, and then you go forward from there. I think that's probably what Sharon Moore is telling his team, what he's telling Bryce Underwood, and if you're a Michigan fan, I think that's the way you should look at it.
Yeah, no, if you're a Michigan fan, you saw that you were outmatched. You understand that you were hopeful that you would find a way to win, but it's not an indictment on this ball club that that they lost to Oklahoma. It was a tough game. It wasn't like Oklahoma just blew them out the water. But you do know that this team will continue to work in the recruiting trail and in the portal. There will be new wide receivers for Bryce Underwood to be throwing to next season. I think that is evident. That has to be addressed, because the talent just isn't there yet in the wide receiver room to match up with what you have at the backfield with Bryce and Haynes, with the O-line, and what the defense brings to the table. The wide receivers do have to improve. So once that is addressed, Michigan will be off and rolling, because I feel like that was a glaring weakness that was exposed in this game, and also just Underwood's inexperience, but that's going to come. That's going to happen. He has to continue to play these games to gain his XP and develop into the guy that Wolverine fans have invested in having as their QB. So nothing to hang your head on or hang your head about this team will be just fine as the season continues.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Nothing to hang your head on with this game. Like I said, he's going to have multiple games like this of magnitude, and he's going to be successful at it as well. As Michigan continues to bring in, even better talent than what they have now, this team's going to gel just like he is, and they're going to be ready. So look at it that way if you're a Michigan fan. So I wouldn't be upset at all. So just keep playing hard, and just going from there. Same thing with Oklahoma. Especially Oklahoma, because you're in the SEC. Everyone's gonna beat up on each other, just like the Big Ten.
And you got a brutal schedule.
Yeah,
Oklahoma's
and
schedule's tough.
Yeah, definitely tough. But anything else, partner, you like to talk about this game before we move on to our next game?
We can keep it rolling.
All right. Well, it's funny that you mentioned about tough schedules, Chris, because now from the game in Norman, Oklahoma, we're going to segue into the game in Gainesville, Florida, hosting South Florida on Saturday afternoon, and what a game that everyone thought was going to be an easy game for the Gators, Chris. They thought that this was going to be another moment where DJ Ladway was going to get his name called, and he was going to just be able to name his score on South Florida. That did not happen. Florida gets stunned by South Florida 18-16. Fourth quarter kick by Grammatica wins them the ball game. And if you're Florida, we talked about Oklahoma, Chris. They got a hard schedule, and indeed they do. But if you look at the schedule for the Florida Gators, this is really, really bad. like where's the wins? You really start to ask those questions now of where are the wins? Where are the quality wins at? Because you can't keep trotting the team that looked lethargic like that on Saturday afternoon against an LSU, against a Texas. Miami. Heck, we'll talk about the team out in Starkville in a little while. Like, you look at that schedule right now. Like, you start asking those questions. I am very serious right now, folks. So, what were your thoughts, Chris, about this implosion in Gainesville on Saturday?
Yeah. Florida's offense looks very inept, and it doesn't look like an offense that features a high-profile five-star quarterback who is a returning starter, Heisman hopeful, very, very, good roster, supporting cast around him. Florida's O-line is good. Eugene Wilson on the outside, solid running back core as well. The players are there. The defense is stout. The defense played okay, but the play calling and the execution on offense, especially, it's extremely concerning if you're a Florida fan. And something has to be rectified. It has to be rectified right now. It's just little things too, Corey. Like late in the ball game, you're ahead. 1st and 10, you're trying to milk the clock, make things as difficult for South Florida as possible to, if they were to get the ball, to drive and score. And you, instead of just handing the ball off, you throw the out route and it's incomplete. on the RPO. Um, whether it's third and short, and you run a wham concept with the wide receiver coming in to block a D tackle on a 3rd and 3 run play. You do that 10 times out of 10, and I got my money on the D tackle, blowing that up every time. I don't care what wide receiver you got blocked. It could be Anquan Bolden. Anquan Bolden ain't blocking no D tackle. So it's things like that within the scheme and the awareness, the lack of coaching, I feel like, in that aspect that is very concerning and will ultimately be the reason Florida will have a new coach next year if this continues.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I think I think you're right, man. Man, Chris, it like just looking at this team, and you know, people talked about it, and clearly, if you watch the game, you could see it. It's like the same mistakes and just like undisciplined issues that you saw.
The guy spit on him.
Yeah,
spit on a South Florida player, getting unsportsmanlike penalty. Yeah, late in the game when you need to get the ball back.
When you need to get the ball in front of the referee. What is going on?
I mean, you can at least do like that. Can spit on the ground. You got to spit on somebody.
Come on now, exactly. It's like what are we doing? So, you know that lack of focus is predicated on your coach, your coaching staff, getting guys head in the game, even when they're going through adversity. We've seen that with a lot of teams. That's what you do. And then you do something like that costs your team even more trials and tribulation in the drive, that ultimately you pretty much lose the game as a result. Like, I was beside myself, Chris, with what I saw on Saturday. That's all I can say. I was beside myself. I'm like, these same issues are happening again. And look, you listen to a lot of people around the area. I've been listening to a lot of Florida fans. They're fed up with it. Mm-hmm. And when you look at that schedule, Chris, when you look at this Florida Gators schedule, next week, they have to go to Death Valley against LSU. The following week, they have to go to Miami.
Mm-hmm. To Miami.
And then October 4th, Texas comes to Gainesville. And then you have to go back on the road to Texas A&M. And we all know how it is playing at College Station. That's one of the most scariest places to play. And the list goes on.
Man, you got to welcome Mississippi State.
Good luck. Good luck, because what we saw from the Bulldogs,
it don't look so easy anymore.
It doesn't look so easy anymore. So
yeah.
I don't know what to say, Chris. I'm sorry if you're a Florida Gators fan.
I know what to say. I know what to say. It's Billy Napier. You're on your last leg, buddy. We already knew coming into this season that Florida fans let you make it last year because they saw promise. We saw what was looking like a trend upwards in how this team closed the season, which should have carried over into this year with a lot of returning production. And your offense should have continued on that trajectory. And it's your offense. Yes, there was a dumb penalty made by a defensive player that sealed your fate. But it's your offense that lost the game, okay? You only put up 16 points against South Florida.
It's terrible.
Inexcusable.
Inexcusable.
And so, shout out to South Florida as well, Alex Golish, and getting the win. And that's a signature win that's been on the way for South Florida. If you've been keeping up with this program and the strides they have made over the last couple seasons. we really should have saw this coming, Corey. But yeah, man, Florida, Billy Napier specifically, buddy. I'll tell you right now, the next 3 games that you talked about, Corey, he has to win 2 of them. You have to win 2 of them now.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the saving grace
You
for
have to
for
win
your
2
job.
games. If you beat, I think we'll talk about it more in our show later in the week. This is actually the worst thing that LSU could have had happen. Is Florida now being desperate? Because that makes this game a lot more interesting. We're about to learn a lot about both teams in this game.
Yeah.
First conference game. LSU also has their own struggles. Trudez is now out a few games. Trudez Green after getting injured against La Tech. And now Florida, their back is against the wall. This is a desperate Gator that hasn't had any food in a few weeks and needs to kill this tiger to survive. Let's see how it plays out, Corey. It should be a fun game, but this isn't how, as a Florida fan, I think you wanted to enter your Death Valley experience.
Not at all. not at all, Chris. Yeah. This team, get ready, folks. If you're gonna watch this game this week, LSU, Florida's gonna be desperate in this ball game. Like Billy Napier,
we'll see it all. We might see some fake punts, fake field goals. Ain't no telling. They're gonna pull out all the stops now, Corey. They got to.
Yeah, like you haven't seen a coach delve into his playbook like you're going to next Saturday. Like it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So yeah, Chris. All I can say is a tough loss if you're a Florida fan. It's gonna get even tougher with the schedule. There's no excuses to be made about that. You got to play the schedule. That's what it's like playing in the SEC. And yeah, we'll definitely see what happens with the Florida Gators. But real quick, Chris, in terms of Alex Golesh, I'm going to say this right now. He is one of the hottest G5 coaches in the country right now. I don't think no one wants to mess around with the South Florida Bulls football team. We saw what happened in week 1 against Boise State. They took Boise State to the woodshed. They made Boise State look like a lower tier MAC squad in week 1. And then you come out week 2 and you do this against a team that, showed a lot of promise at media days and had like a star quarterback coming back to the program. You do this, yeah. I think Alex Golesh has something special down there in South Florida. And hey, if I'm him, I know that there's going to be people calling and blowing up your phone. I would stay in South Florida for a little while longer. You got a 12-team playoff now. You don't have to risk going to another program unless you want to be a top college football coach. I think you can stay put.
Yeah, he will be getting a lot of calls. That's for sure. I can see a couple SEC schools, checking on his interest at the end of the season if South Florida continues to have a great year. So, but no, definitely big shout out to Golesh and his staff and what they are doing at South Florida. They look like they have stamped themselves as the team that very well will make the playoff this year out the G5. It just continues. They continue to play as well as they have played. So we'll see. We'll see. But man, whew, it's we have quite the college football season shaking out, Corey. Because
Yeah,
uh, I think Florida LSU will be absolute cinema now that we have this little caveat with Florida disappointing, and then I think South Florida. It's a scrappy team. If it's a close game, they just like one of those teams that will find a way to win. I'm curious to see who can get them on the ropes and really force them to have to put points up and put this team in a position where they have to. It's a high scoring game because I feel like any kind of low scoring, rough it out, tough it out kind of game, South Florida just seems built to win these kinds of games.
absolutely, absolutely. And it gets even interesting next week, Chris, as they have to go to Miami to take on the Hurricanes. So, hey, it's one thing of you beating Florida. Imagine what would happen if you beat
Maybe Miami.
Miami. Oh my
Go to the top
God.
10.
Put them up there.
Yeah, have to.
You got to. You got to. And if this happens, Chris, is it safe to say we're looking at 2007 all over again?
Yeah, we're looking at 2007 all over again. We're looking at the state of Florida possibly having a couple of different head coaches because it ain't sweet over there for Mario Cristobal either in Miami. He needs it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard to sell the people on bringing you back if you lose to South Florida and then go on and not win the ACC. You got to win the ACC at that point. So, hey man, we got quite the season in the makings.
Yeah. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Well, man, what a crazy game in Gainesville. We'll see what happens with the Gators as they take on the LSU Tigers coming up this Saturday, and we'll see what happens with South Florida as their next game. It's against the Miami Hurricanes. So, week 3, it's gonna be crazy, man.
It's going to be crazy. I will let y'all know how everything looked after being at that game live and in person.
Yes.
Making a trip to Baton Rouge. So I can't wait. I can't wait. It does takes the top 25 sting off it with Florida losing, but I just we've been watching college football for a long time, man. I have a feeling now. LSU better come ready to play because I feel like Florida is going to play a good game now, like a really good game, even though it's on the road. Everybody, you might expect them to crumble, but we'll see. So it's going to be quite the matchup. So I'm excited.
Yes, indeed. I am as well. Should be a great week of games, and yeah, that one in particular. I can't wait for us to watch that game and talk about it and break it all down. So yeah, man. But anything else, Chris, you want to add to this game before we move on to probably the segment where I gotta put on my Homer hat. I'm not gonna lie.
Now we can keep it rolling. Let's go on to our neck of the woods.
Yes, indeed. So, folks, unless you were hiding under a rock on Saturday evening, we had a game in Stark Vegas, Mississippi. Yeah, that's right. Mississippi State hosted Arizona State. They were ranked number 12, Chris, in the AP poll. What do you know?
Not anymore.
Mississippi State. Not anymore. Other votes receiving you go, buddy. Mississippi State wins this ball game 24-20. Late game, 30 seconds left on the clock, Chris. And this is right after Arizona State ties it up with Mississippi State. Well, no, it was at that point. It was
No,
20-17. They get that
yeah,
late
Arizona
game
State.
field
Hmm.
goal. Yeah, Arizona State gets that late game field goal. You're thinking that Arizona State is going to find a way to win this ball game, stall out Mississippi State like they did for most of the second half. Did not happen. Thanks to Blake Shapen's late game touchdown to Brendan Thompson for it was like 54-yard touchdown to seal the deal for the Bulldogs. My gosh, Chris, we've seen what Mississippi State has looked like these last couple of years. It has not been pretty. You lose Mike Leach a couple of years back. You have to play a whole bowl game against Illinois without him being on the sideline. They find a way to win that ball game in epic would be Mike Leach fashion. And yeah, after that, you hire Zach Arnett from the defensive coordinator to the head coach. That does not work out. He ends up going to Ole Miss to become an analyst. And yeah, from there to last year, you just pretty much just give up each and every week. You're not the same team as you once were. People don't fear coming to Starville as much as they used to. And man, me and you would hear it a lot, Chris. From the people down there in Starville and just Mississippi in general that were Mississippi State fans. That feeling just wasn't there anymore. You didn't get those. You didn't get that style of Mississippi State football where, they're going to play hard, win, lose, or draw for 60 minutes. And, a lot of people started feeling, really, I guess what's the good word you can say? Just tired of it all. People were
Hmm.
fatigued with being dead last in the SEC. And then you have a game like this. Granted, it's not in the SEC. This is a non-conference foe in Arizona State, but this is a team that just won the Big 12 last season and still has high hopes for potentially winning it again. You beat them in Starkville, and you see the fans rushing the field, and for me, Chris, I had to kind of think about it. I was like, we were always taught that, hey, in big games, we don't rush the field because if we know we're going to win the ball game, we're going to win the ball game. That when I saw the fans rush the field, I thought to myself about that, and I was like, you know what? For everything that has happened with this school, with this ball club, you know what? Let the fans rush the field. It was almost like a therapeutic moment, and hopefully, if you're a Mississippi State fan watching the show, welcome, of course. You probably felt it, especially if you did rush the field. For those folks, this was a happy moment for them. And I know that the team was also happy. Jeff Lebby was also happy. And yeah, I think this game right here was definitely a moment that you could look at, be excited about and build off on. Like, these are the kinds of games that teams like a Mississippi State can build off on and become very dangerous teams in your league. In this case, in the SEC, they could definitely make some moves this year after this. So overall, Chris, I was pleased with what I saw. It wasn't easy, but hey, you when you get a win, you take those wins, and I'm sure Jeff Lebby probably said that as well. So, what were your thoughts about this big win, Chris? I know that was long-winded, but I just had to get that
Yeah,
out of my chest.
No, this it's the signature win of Levy's tenure. It's the win that the program needed, desperately needed, for the reasons you mentioned. Just everything that's taken place over the last couple of years. I mean, you were a 2-win team in last season, 0 SEC wins. Um, it was a rough year. It's a rough year, and this was um this was a ball game you needed to win, especially with how the game played out. We've seen this movie so many times where Mississippi State just tricks the game off, or you should have won a game. We look back like, man, we should have won that one. And this was about to be another one of those where we look back and was like, man, they should have won that one. And unlike in Mississippi State, not the normal Mississippi State fashion, you found a way to win it. Brennan Thompson making a huge play, a play that goes down in Mississippi State football lore. Just that catch and run. And now you have something that you can really sell to recruits, and you can really build on this to continue to build the program back to where it was and potentially even higher heights. So, there's definitely some things to still fix. I think this is concerning, that offensive line play, the run blocking. Can't run between the tackles. It ain't working. State's not to run to the outside because in between the tackles, they just can't get no push. If you're not getting push against Arizona State, you ain't gonna get no push against Tennessee, Texas A&M, and others in the SEC. So I think we'll see a little bit of a philosophy change. I think Jeff Lebby is a smart guy, and I think we'll see State continue to implement more of the short passing game and some outside running. And with those outside runs in the short passing game, we'll try to look to get the deep bombs that you love to get out of the veer and shoot, which did take place. Despite the struggles with the run game, State was able to get those explosives when needed. And so I think we'll see just a little bit of that continue to change philosophy-wise. But outside of that, man, this was huge. Huge. This could potentially be going back some years, but it's like that win that a Kentucky got against an LSU, where you have recruits in early in the season, and Kentucky in 2007, of all years, found a way to beat LSU in OT, and you storm the field and everything. And that was a much better Kentucky team on paper than Mississippi State is right now, because Kentucky was ranked. But this is one of those games that you need a win like this, because we talked about it off the air. A lot of talent in Mississippi is not going to Mississippi schools anymore. And you need to give these guys a reason to stay in state. And so State, get a win like that, you rattle off some big SEC wins this season, go to a bowl, possibly win a bowl game. Now you have something to really to sell the program and be able to keep some of these highly touted guys in state like we used to, because that has not been the case anymore. So big win for Jeff Lebby and the Bulldogs. Curious to see if they can clean some things up the next couple of weeks, because you welcome Tennessee to town, and that will be very interesting to see. Mississippi State against Tennessee, because they are both two teams that run similar offenses with similar principles, Corey.
Absolutely. I think that game very much interests me now more than ever, Chris. Seeing both Josh Heupel and Jeff Lebby, both guys that run this veer and shoot offense. It's like definitely a different version, or more of a high octane version of the air raid, just mixed in with a little bit more of some RPOs, play action, and with a lot more on the ground runs than your Mike Leach's air raid. This could be an interesting ball game. So the next 2 weeks that we know, Chris, Mississippi State has Alcorn State and Northern Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
If they can handle both of these
And
teams,
you don't want to look over. You don't want to look past NIU either.
you
know
don't
what
want to look
NIU can
past.
do.
Yes. No, Notre Dame knows all about that. Hey, Louisville almost knew all about it as well this week.
It's really right, and it's really a good team to play before you play Tennessee to make sure you got your stuff together.
Exactly.
Before you play Tennessee.
Exactly.
They'll challenge you.
Right. Agreed, man. So yeah, I'm sure, and it's kind of like what you said, Chris. There's still some things that this Mississippi State squad needs to do to get better. Of course, running in between the tackles. Like, look, you got two teams like that back to back at home. You can definitely delve deeper in your depth chart and get some guys in with some quality reps, and to work on getting better in between the tackles. Of course, I think having Fluff Bothwell and Booth, those two they're going to be really, really good running backs this season in the SEC. I think people do not need to sleep on their 1-2 punch combination. They complement each other very well. So, you get some things right, and you start to delve deeper in excelling in the run game as well as the passing game, and continue on with finding guys to make more plays on defense. And shout out to Coleman Hustler. he drew up a perfect game plan, or near perfect game plan. A game plan to slow down Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson, because I came into that game kind of thinking like, hey, look, Jordan Tyson is one of the best wide receivers in the nation. You're not going to fully slow him down, but if you could try to slow him down, I'd probably say 75 to 80% of the game, I think you'll be fine. And they did that. So hats off to Mississippi State, Chris. Our school finally is breathing some new life. They need that. And we'll see what the Bulldogs have in store for us for the rest of the season. I'm intrigued now. It's good to see when Mississippi State is good in the SEC. That lets you know you have a really good, strong SEC conference. And my last thing, yes sir. My last thing I'll say about Arizona State. Nothing to hold your head over in this game. You got everything to play for in a very competitive Big 12 conference. So they got a lot of big games coming up their way this season. And if you're Kenny Dillingham, this is a good check moment for your Sun Devil squad.
Yeah. No, it's we mentioned NIU and how they did Notre Dame last year. Notre Dame took that L and figure things out going forward. So, Arizona State can do the same thing with this game and see if they can right their wrongs in conference play. So,
yeah. I think Chris just went out for a moment. Can you hear me, Chris? I think you went out. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
But yeah, we definitely have quite the season ahead of us.
Yeah. Indeed. So, still a lot to play for if you're Arizona State, indeed. And if you're Mississippi State, you take the wins whenever you can get them to improve for the future. So, we'll definitely see what happens with both of these squads coming up this season, Chris.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, man. So, anything else you'd like to add to this game before we move on to our next game?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, moving along, of course, folks, if you're listening to the show, welcome in. Of course, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe to the show. as we're trying to grow the community. So as always, we appreciate you guys enjoying the live stream here on YouTube or if you're on Twitch. All right, Chris. So moving on. This is an interesting game. Baylor took on SMU on Saturday. Both of these teams, they went down to the wire. It went down to 2 overtimes. Someone had to win. And that team was Baylor. Defeated SMU 48-45 in 2 OT. Chris, you said it. You were high on this Baylor squad in the preseason. And Sawyer Robinson and company, definitely a good, gutsy performance by this Baylor Bears squad in beating a SMU team with Rhett Lashley that, he's trying to make it back close to an ACC championship to potentially win it. So, a gutsy performance by the Baylor Bears, and now we're gonna see what they're made of as the season progresses. But what were your thoughts about this game? Because man, it was a lot of offense displayed. If you're a fan of offense,
yeah. No, I thought it was a great game. Both teams deserved to win. Well, only one could win, and Sawyer Robertson threw for over 400 yards. I mean, he put on an absolute show, and showed why I think he's the best quarterback in the conference, in the Big 12. And so, big time win for Baylor on the road after losing at home to Auburn. I think we know now that Auburn is for real. I expect Auburn to have a really good season, and we learned a lot about Baylor. After taking that L at home, you bounce back, go on the road, lock in, find a way to beat SMU. A team that's really good and won the ACC last season. So, yeah, big shout out to the Bears. This is a game that you can only win if you have a veteran QB who's the real deal. Sawyer Robertson has seen his fair share of battles. He's learned a lot of football, and he led his team like a veteran QB is supposed to on the road to victory. And so now Baylor, you survived this stretch going 1-1. Got a couple more non-con games to play in and win, and then you feel geared up and you're ready to go in conference play because you've seen some wars now, and you know what it takes to win tight games. So I think the Bears are in a good spot to go forward in the Big 12, Corey.
Yeah, I think so too. Getting a win like this is very important for this Baylor squad. Had they have lost, we're talking about 0-2 Baylor Bears squad that, man, at that point, you're looking at the schedule like yeah, sure. It's possible that you can pretty much handle everybody else that you're supposed to be in your conference, but you're definitely not going to keep people intrigued to watch you if you lose 2 straight. So they needed to win a ball game like this against a quality SMU squad that, like I said, this team. They went to the college football 12-team playoff last season. It's definitely important for you, if you're Baylor, to win big games like this. So, a great win for them indeed. A great performance by Sawyer Robertson, Chris. He was 34 for 50, 440 yards with 4 touchdowns. I mean, he was electric in this ball game. And now pretty much you prep with a game against Sanford that we know you're gonna win that game heavily before you take on Arizona State, and you bring Arizona State to Waco. So that's gonna be an interesting matchup. I can't wait for us to talk about that ball game because I know we'll definitely spot that game during our previews.
Yeah, and at that point, both teams are wounded. You you know what I'm saying? Blood has been shed. You've taken an L, so you both will need that game. You feel like your playoff hopes are on the line. So that will be a playoff game in itself, Corey. It'll be a conference championship level game between those two teams. So that will be one to see.
Yeah, yeah, it's a early you know show your hand game. We're playing
Mm-hmm.
cards. Yeah, you want to see who has the most in the tank in that game when it
who,
pertains to the Big
who
12
got the big joker?
conference. Yeah, who has the
Yeah,
big joker in that ball game? So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting matchup in terms of the Big 12 race to win it all at in the end of the season. So, yeah, we'll definitely be on here discussing that game leading up to kickoff for sure.
yes, sir.
So yeah, man, great game indeed. SMU, of course, a long season ahead. A lot of football left to be played, but I got to give it up to Rhett Lashley. This team is still clicking on all cylinders, and I think they're still going to be a pretty good squad as well. So we'll see what happens this season going forward for the Mustangs as well as the Baylor Bears. But anything else, Chris, you like to add to this game before we move along?
No, nothing else I'm gonna add. The game spoke for itself. It was an absolute thriller. Real quick. The CW is out here with bangers, Corey.
Hey, I was gonna talk to you about that. Like, look, the CW network is blessing us college football heads with great games each and every week, and I think they have another one coming up in week 3. I gotta check
They
the schedule.
Yeah, no, this is crazy. So we just had this game, Baylor SMU. Coming up next, like he says, is going to be South Florida and Miami on the CW network.
That's what I was thinking about. I saw that as I was prepping the show, and I was going to tell you, but I was like, man, I'll just wait till when we talk about it on the podcast. That look, the
Hey,
CW
CW
cooking,
is the real.
man.
They're the real Jefferson Davis. What was it? Jefferson Pilot classics out here. Serving up absolute bangers, just like we had in the
Absolute
early
bang.
2000s. So yeah. If you see a game on the CW network, get ready because hey, it's about to be a movie. You about to be in store for a good one.
I'm
So
telling you.
I hope Miami is ready for South Florida because I got a weird feeling that we got another classic brewing on the CW with those two.
Imagine, Chris, if you're a network executive at the CW and you see that game on your schedule, you're just like this with the Birdman hand rub. You're like,
Hey,
yeah.
you thinking, well, we got to keep finding these gems because these are absolute gems. They aren't games that you just know unless you know in the preseason. That
Yeah.
could really be something. And here we are with just two gifts just delivered to us. One of them we already got to unwrap and see what's inside. We got another gift that we'll get on Saturday. So yeah, shout out to the CW, man. They doing a thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. One thing to note real quick, Chris, before we move on, of course, I think, over the years now, there isn't any more like Jefferson Pilot, the company that used to sponsor the games, but they got bought out by a media company or conglomerate, and that company is pretty much single-handedly responsible for airing ACC games. So there you go. look what you did, Chris.
They really had the baton passed down to them.
Just like that. This is beautiful.
My night is made. Man. Like, we've been doing a pod for a minute. You know how those Jefferson Pilot games, they are near and dear to our hearts.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We grew up on those. So to find out this news, oh man. Oh boy, I am overjoyed, brother. Oh boy, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Wow. Mind blown.
I'm definitely gonna look it up some more to kind of put some things in context, in proper context, and I'll definitely send you all of that information. But yeah, that according to a little bit of what I heard is that's where a lot of your Jefferson Pilot games are now broadcast on. So thanks to the ACC for blessing us with more Jefferson Pilot scheduled games. That's all I can say. Oh man.
Yeah.
But,
hey, yeah. Shout out to the ACC, man. They hold it down for us.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Oh man, but yeah, Chris, a great game indeed, a great win by the Baylor Bears, and yeah, we'll definitely see what they do going forward this season.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Well, now, Chris, we are going to move along, and we're going to go to our final preview game before we move into our other scores and wrap up today's show with you lovely folks out there. Iowa taking on Iowa State. The Cyhawk Trophy is on the line, Chris. What a great game this was. Went down to the wire. It had to be a winner. And Iowa State comes out of this game with the victory, 16-13. I think a late game field goal seals the deal for the Cyclones. And in the end, they were the ones hoisting up that Cyhawk Series trophy. Great game. And hey, just another another win by Coach Campbell and those Cyclones there down in Ames. And it looked like it was also a great turnout as well, of course. I mean, it's the Cyhawk Series. It's always going to be a great game indeed, with a lot of stakes on the line. But they're 3-0 now, Chris. Iowa State being 3-0, 2-0 in conference play right now. They're looking good right now. That's all I can say. They're looking dominant.
Yeah, big win for Iowa State. Man, part of me still feels like that game should not have been that close. But rivalry games, you never know what you'll get out of them. Iowa's defense was tough, but like we said, Corey, you can't trust the Hawkeyes when their offensive play is as anemic and bad as it is. It is something's got to change out there in Iowa. Something's got to change because it is not a sight to see. Defense is amazing. The defense is fire, and for the last 4 or 5 years, the defense has always been fire. But the defense deserves better, Corey. They deserve so much better.
Yeah, I was looking for Mark Gronowski to, perform better. I mean, look, they spent the money to get a guy like him away from South Dakota State. He was really good at, playing at South Dakota State for the Jackrabbits. And, yeah, it just didn't materialize in the way that we had hoped. He ended the day, he was 13 for 24, just 83 yards and an interception. My gosh. I mean, you look at Rocco Beck, he didn't do a whole lot in this ball game. He was 18 for 27, 134 yards and a touchdown. Kind of tells you the whole story with this ball game between these two quarterbacks. That there was some sloppy moments, but look at the difference. That's not going to cut it. 83 yards is not going to cut it in the Big Ten at all. So
yeah.
Look, as much as we praise Kurt Ferentz, long tenured coach at Iowa, one of the longest tenured coaches, not just at Iowa in college football. That's not gonna cut it. Not in this day and age. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, no, it's been a change. It's been long overdue in regards to the style of offense that they run at Iowa. But hey, if Iowa and the boosters and athletic department, if they like it, I like it too. So it just kind of is what it is thing at this point, because this has been Iowa and their MO for forever.
Yeah.
That means it's Iowa football at this point.
Pretty much. That's pretty much their MO at this point. And it's unfortunate if you're an Iowa fan, you want to see some more offense. Like, you look at the guys in the Ames, like, they got a really, really good quarterback. And an all-conference quarterback. Back there each and every week, and you're just doing the same thing. You're just being the same old lethargic Iowa. At some point, something has to change. That's all I gotta say.
We'll see. We'll see. The coach may change. We'll see if the offense changes with it. In the near future. So, I feel like the clock is ticking on Ferentz, and they won't fire him, but I think he'll eventually go off into retirement.
Yeah,
he'll be, or at least he'll be encouraged to retire.
Right. So yeah, we'll definitely see.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how the season plays out. But
right,
So you can't expect much out of Iowa with this kind of offense, Corey.
No, you can't. You can't win games, quality games, by doing this. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. So yeah, it's gut check time. For Iowa, and if you're an Iowa fan, I would welcome it. So yeah, we'll definitely see going forward what happens with both of these teams. But a great win indeed by the Cyclones. Matt Campbell still, doing world wonders for the Iowa State Cyclones team.
Yeah, for sure. That's the truth.
Yep, indeed it is. Well, Chris, we've gotten the premier games out of the way. Let's go ahead and, as we're getting close to wrapping up the show, we won't take too long on a lot of these games, but other week 2 results. We'll go ahead and we'll talk about the game in Lexington on Saturday. Kentucky hosted Ole Miss in a ball game that I thought at first, Chris, Kentucky was going to showcase something to us that similar to what Mississippi State did. I thought they were going to run it back on us. Did not happen. Ole Miss wins this ball game 30-23. Austin Simmons, he threw 2 picks in the game, and then he ended up getting injured, of course. And he ended the game. He was 13 for 24, 235 yards. Didn't throw a touchdown at all, but he did run for one. Chris, what do you take of both of these teams? You can call out anyone to start off with. But what do you think about both of these teams after this game took place? Because this was a weird game.
Yeah, my stock on Ole Miss is down. The offense didn't do what I feel like they should have done to Kentucky, and there's question marks about Ole Miss. There's question marks. So they're still a good ball club. I question their ceiling and how good they truly are. That we'll find out as SEC play continues. But Ole Miss doesn't seem to be that great. Seem to be just a solid team. Kentucky, stinky. Stinky. Kentucky is no good. That is the worst team in the SEC for it.
Indeed. And look, I'm going to just get on my real quick soapbox. The amount of times that I saw this team, offensive-wise, get on the line and just, for whatever reason, these guys are not looking at the clock. Just horrible clock management. It's also a part of the coaches'
That's a staple.
Staff.
I'm about to say that's a Mark Stoops staple right there, though. For clock management.
Yeah.
Just be honest with you. That's what his teams do.
It's inexcusable. Inexcusable. And yeah, it was a point in time before that. Well, I think it was before halftime. I think where they just had terrible clock management, and that was when I knew that this team is probably going to be the worst team in the SEC, and it reared its ugly head on Saturday. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Both teams, you walk away saying they're not good, and that's just as simple as that's my takeaway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't have nothing else to say about it. It wasn't it wasn't the best game in the world.
No, not at all, not at all. And we'll see what happens with both of them going forward. But a weird game to be the first SEC in conference game of the season.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see what happens with both of these teams moving forward this season, and we'll definitely be discussing it. But moving along, Chris, Illinois took on Duke. Illinois won this game 45-19. Was your final score? It was an interesting ball game. I was watching the first half of this. Duke was coming out swinging, and I knew, and we talked about it in our prediction show, Chris, that if Manny Diaz would position his team to come out the gate swinging, it was going to be a little bit of a tussle between the Blue Devils and the Fighting Illini. But overall, Luke Altmaier and company, they were just too much for Duke. And it definitely showed as the game progressed.
Yeah. Illinois stock, buy it now. Get as much as you can. Hoard it. Because that looks like a playoff team.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's official. It's official now, Chris.
They can compete with Ohio State. They can beat Ohio State. They can compete with Oregon, possibly beat Oregon. They are legit. Mm-hmm. And we will continue to learn just how legit they are as the season progresses. But they look to be one of the 12 best teams in the nation, Corey.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Chris. This game right here pretty much solidified it for me that this Illinois team is definitely this year's Indiana, through and through. They have everything in front of them to become a force in the Big Ten this season.
Yeah. I mean, the Big Ten is loaded when you look at it from the standpoint of Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Illinois. We'll see as the season progresses. You might throw USC in the mix. So, yeah, they are loaded for sure.
Absolutely. So, we'll definitely see what happens for the rest of this season with both Duke and Illinois, but a great victory by the Fighting Illini. Brett Bielema has that team rolling, so we'll see what happens going forward. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll see what happens for sure. I think we'll see this team be right there. They'll be right there in the mix.
I think so. I think so. So can't wait to see what happens this season with Illinois, Chris. Moving along, I got to ask you, Chris. Georgia hosted Austin Peay. 28-6 was your final score. Georgia wins, of course. What's going on with Georgia right now, Chris? Because, man, I'm starting to believe when you look at Georgia, look, maybe you know we can come after Billy Napier a lot with what happened with the USF game, but it's kind of hard for me to think that if Georgia goes out in the cocktail party playing against Florida in this fashion, that they will win convincingly. Who knows? Maybe they will.
They won't. No. You're right. They won't. This is Corey. As we went into this season, brother, you remember what I had Georgia preseason ranked?
Yeah.
It was not as high as many people in the college football circles. Because I'm a Georgia fan, and I'm not afraid to tell you, we ain't that good. And that's what we're seeing play out.
Yeah. Like this team is, man, they are. I would hate to say that they're stinky, but they're not playing up to the standard that, you know, an average Georgia fan has been accustomed to seeing over the years. This team is playing almost just.
You're right.
With the feet up on the table, just like, hey, we're Georgia. Like, okay. And what?
That's what it seems like, you know, and they're clearly, they aren't executing. So you're not getting the production on offense that you would anticipate against these lower level teams. And now you got to go to Tennessee.
Yeah. Good luck taking on Joey Aguilar, and we're going to talk about that later on in our prediction show. You know, coming up this week.
That's not going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy. Tennessee's looking red hot right now.
They're looking a whole lot better than what you are, Georgia. So, yeah, we'll talk about that game a lot more later in the week because I got a feeling that Georgia falls behind. It's going to be tough to catch up. So we'll see how that one plays out on Saturday. But I would definitely be concerned if you're a Bulldog fan.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought I had to point that out, Chris, because I was like, what is going on in Athens right now? Like, this is just weird.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, it is. It's not good. It's not good one bit. It smells like last season all over again. And I don't think you'll be able to win the SEC. Yes. And the league is better. So I don't know if you'll be able to win the SEC like you were able to last season, playing the way you are playing.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And like, something needs to happen. I mean, you get a come to Jesus meeting with Gunnar Stockton and the whole team or something. Like, something needs to take place in order for y'all to wake up, because you can't keep having games like this against lesser opponents each and every week, and then try to come out and you know, try your team out on the field against SEC opponents. Like, that's not how this works. It's not how this works, Kirby.
It ain't. And there's so much going on around college football that nobody's paying attention to this, but it may be put on the forefront here very soon, Corey.
Yeah. So we'll definitely see what happens with the Bulldogs as they, you know, get ready to take on the Tennessee Volunteers this coming Saturday. So we'll definitely be talking about that on our prediction show, Chris. Moving along, Clemson defeated Troy 27-16. Another team, Chris. Dabo looking lethargic right now. We were high on these Clemson Tigers earlier in the season, and now since getting getting beat by LSU and then having a weird game against Troy, questions need to be answered now with Clemson and Dabo. Like, what's going on with Cade Klubnik and this squad?
Oh, it ain't looking good. They can't run the football, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
It all starts with running the football. You can't run the football, which then leads you to rely on Cade Klubnik, and he ain't that kind of guy. Cade is a really good quarterback, but he's not the kind of QB that can just lead you to wins against teams solely on his arm alone. And so that will have to get corrected here very soon, Corey, because if I'm not mistaken, don't Clemson play Georgia Tech in the near future? Is that this weekend or is that the following weekend? I want to say almost it's this weekend.
It is this weekend. Yes, indeed. Yeah, they need to. Yeah, like there is no room for like, hey, let's take it slow, let's improve. Like, no, like you should have done that in the offseason.
And it's a road game.
And it's a road game. Look, Brent Key licking his chops.
Hey, you look. I'm not going to put any predictions out there, Corey, but week 3 is lining up to be quite the week, isn't it?
Look, week 3 about to feed some families. That's all I'm about to say.
We're about to get some answers to a lot of questions.
Yeah. I think so too, partner. Which is my favorite week. Week 3, week 4, my favorite weeks of the season in college football, because you start to. I'd say now with NIL, of course. I think and you can probably still say it. I would give your team I would give them around like week 5 to figure out, who's, how they are in terms of the way that they perform. I think now you can find out how a team is like at least week 3, week 4.
Oh yeah, we are. And keeping it Clemson, Georgia Tech. I think we know who Georgia Tech is because ain't nothing changed from what they do.
No.
I don't think we really know who Clemson is yet. And yes, they are more talented, but that's the scary thing about going up against a team who's less talented, but knows who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes for quite the game.
Absolutely. And so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Clemson does against Georgia Tech, a team that has been knocking at your doorstep, Clemson, for a few years now in terms of getting better in that league. Dabo's gonna have to come with it. He's gonna have to have 30, 40 play sheets ready. I know he ain't gonna want to do it because it's Dabo, and he holds his pride to the highest degree, Chris. But I don't think you want to have a late fourth quarter run with Brent Key and this Georgia Tech squad if things go awry. That's all I'm saying.
Oh no, you don't. You do not want to get in one of those kind of games.
Nope.
And so you definitely want to get on Georgia Tech early. So we'll see if Clemson can figure some things out, especially with that running game, Corey. Because
yes.
I ain't know Phil Maffa was doggone Barry Sanders or Earl Campbell, O.J. Simpson, one of those level running backs because this running game just looks inept without Maffa back there.
Yeah, and it shows. It's like, man, it definitely puts things in perspective. Yeah, and just like looking at the stats right now. Adam Randall, he held the ball the most. He with 21 carries, 112 yards. He did get a touchdown, but you're thinking about guys like Brian Wesco Jr., Gideon Davidson.
Mm-hmm.
What were they?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I get what you're saying, Chris. Like they got to tighten up at that position.
Yeah. And this is against Troy. You were down 16-0.
Yeah.
It took you figuring things out in the second half. Honestly, it took you wearing down Troy. If Troy had as much depth as Clemson, the game doesn't play out like that. But it was a matter of time that they wore down the Trojans.
Right.
It was like you just got out immediately and forced your dominance on Troy. It took them tiring out. So, yeah, that ain't gonna work as the season continues, brother.
No, not at all. Not at all. So yeah, we'll definitely see what happens with Clemson as the season progresses. But a big game indeed in Atlanta coming up this Saturday. So, and lastly, Chris, we had Texas taking on San Jose State. Texas defeated San Jose State 38-7. Arch Manning, he was smiling, he was happy. 19 for 30, 295 yards, 4 touchdowns. He did throw an interception. So it was good to see him in good spirits, Chris. But the question real quick as we kind of wrap up the scores, is Arch Manning okay? Like, let's be honest. It's like people don't want to talk about it. I don't think Sark wants to talk about it. I don't think Arch or anybody.
We talked about it.
I don't think Arch's throwing shoulder is doing so well right now. I'm just gonna be honest with you. And you saw one of the plays that he threw. He had that grimacing look to.
Yep.
So I'm wondering, the health wise, he has to be playing through some kind of a nagging injury. Whether he got that in fall camp or
he might have camp on.
Yeah.
I think he has camp on. And we talked about it last week, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
I said you can look at him and how he's throwing his shoulder, his throwing mechanics. They're all wrong. He's doing sidearm passes when he doesn't need to. Mm-hmm. His shoulder he's injured. He's playing through an injury.
Yeah.
And as the season wanes on and continues, it's only going to get worse, I feel like, because you're not giving that shoulder the rest it needs to properly heal up. If this continues, and this is Texas will not win the SEC. Texas will be lucky to make the playoff. Texas will not have the season Texas and Longhorn fans expected and want if this is the case. Just put that in your mind now, our Longhorn listeners. What you have in mind for this season is not going to happen if this is who Arch Manning is. And I think this is who he is based on what seems to be the case with his shoulder and if he continues to play. You won't win the championship. You'll be lucky to make the playoff. Just put that in y'all heads right now.
That's what it seems like. I mean, I feel for the kid. He has to endure, these expectations, of course. But it's another thing that, he's out here, playing ball with a potential, nagging injury that he's trying to play his best through. So
and he is, but
yeah,
it's because he can't reach his full ceiling. Texas won't either.
Pretty much.
That's what it boils down to.
Hmm. Yeah, his success is predicated on the rest of their success. um, or vice versa. Their success is predicated on how well he does. So, um, yeah, I think if you're a Texas fan right now, you should be very cautious about what you're seeing with Arch performing week in and week out. And I have no qualms in saying that he definitely needs to get more confident, because he will. And I think this was a perfect week for him to gain more confidence, and we knew that was going to happen. So I think he's perfectly fine, in that department, in making sure that he's as confident and making sure that he's that locker room leader for his team, because he is QB1 for the Longhorns. But in terms of what he can do physically, what he can provide physically for his team in order for them to be in games, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I thought that was very interesting, and I saw when you had had quoted in the tweet about that yeah, I think it's definitely a concern if you're a Texas fan.
Big time, big time. Don't let the coaching staff, Arch, and the rest of the guys, anybody around Texas, the football program, tell you otherwise. You should be concerned.
Yeah,
you should be concerned.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. Long season ahead, of course. It was a big week, week 2, with a lot of interesting topics and storylines that we got to witness. And yeah, we'll definitely see what happens going forward throughout the season with all of these teams. But Chris, before we head out of here, we gotta go ahead and give our Chief of the Week award. And Chief of the Week for week 2 of the college football season, gotta do it.
I know who you're
doing.
Nico Grammatica. Who's going to be? Nico, you gave it to Grammatica. Okay.
Yes, I gotta do it. He was 3
Keeping
for 4.
Keeping that family name going.
Yeah, exactly. Keeping the family name going. Nico Grammatica. He was 3 for 4, Chris, in field goals. His longest was a 38-yarder, and he ended the day with a 75 percentage in field goal rate.
On the road.
At
the swamp. Yeah.
So, shout out to Mr. Grammatica. He is our Chief of the Week for week 2. Great
yes,
win.
Yes, sir. Big time. And I think we can also give a honorable mention to Brennan Thompson.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and do it. Look, I'm putting my Homer hat back on, people. Look, when you get
was it 6 for 108 and 2 TDs?
That sounds about right. I would have to go back and look at the stats.
I know he had 6 receptions, 2 touchdowns, 1 Willie Mays style where he had to look over his. He was looking over one shoulder and caught it over the other.
Yes.
Into that zone.
which was just amazing. Yeah, he was 6. He had 6 receptions, 133 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yards. His longest was a 58 yarder, which I think that was the ending touchdown.
Yeah, the last touchdown.
Yeah. So that one was longer than the Willie Mays one.
But yeah, I mean, shout out to him for being that guy. His profile was limited, but you knew he had the speed, the talent, and he's established himself as a legitimate threat in this offense. And just if he continues to do this for Mississippi State, they can play with a lot of these teams in the SEC. So yeah, shout out to Thompson, shout out to Grammatica. You two, y'all did what had to be done in week 2. See if y'all can make it happen again.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah. Shout out to both of those men. Yeah, I think even the commentators had talked about Brendan Thompson, uh, that he is like the fastest wide receiver in America. He's like one of the fastest in America right now. So, look, if you're Jeff Lebby, you're cheesing right now. You got one of the fastest wide receivers in America. You can do what you want.
Yeah, when he does a double move, boy, it's scary.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. So, I expect to see plays like that from Brendan Thompson a lot this season, from Shaping to Thompson. So it's gonna be interesting, of course, to see what happens this season. But yeah, Chris, a great week 2 of college football. Week 3, we got a lot of games on the slate. Notre Dame taking on Texas A&M, Georgia taking on Tennessee, LSU, Florida,
yeah,
and a
Clemson,
bevy of
Georgia
more.
Tech.
Clemson, Georgia Tech. The list goes
Miami,
on.
South Florida.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
could be another crazy week.
Yeah, another crazy week indeed. So yeah, I think I think I'm excited, man. I'm definitely excited about week 3 indeed, and it should be great.
I think upsets are brewing.
I think so too.
I think we'll see some more upsets this weekend. So we'll tell you which ones to expect. We won't tell you who just yet, but I think upsets are brewing.
Yes, I think so too. So yeah, man. A great week indeed. We're definitely gonna be talking about it on our prediction show, and we hope you guys will be here to chat with us, connect with us here on the Breakdown Sportscast. So, Chris, another great show indeed. Got some outros. Let the good people know where they can find you on social media.
Holla at your boy on X at Chris_Bolton_12. Instagram, Chris.Bolton_. Tap in. It's a wonderful time of the year right now. The football is in full effect. Baseball's is going as well. So yeah, just tap in with me. You'll see me making different tweets about what's going on with that. We also got the big fight coming up. Canelo and Terrence Crawford will be this weekend too, Corey. I mean, it's just beautiful. There's so much going on. We're gonna have people their TV on, their tablets out, the laptop just trying to watching Netflix to watch the fight. Just too much going on at once.
Hey, that's the beauty of it, and you can watch it all on ESPN Unlimited.
So, but yeah. How at your boy on the socials there? So that's where you can find me.
Nice. Well, folks, you can find me on X at Listen to KSW, all one handle. I'm on there talking college football, of course, professional wrestling. AJ Lee returned to the WWE. CM Punk looked like a proud husband to his wife.
AJ Lee had people tearing up. They couldn't believe she's back.
I know. It was like it was a long time coming. Even Triple H was so happy. Oh man. So yeah, man. Definitely follow me on there. It's always great to connect with people that are in love with the art known as professional wrestling as well as college football. So yeah, definitely follow me on there. But yeah, folks, we appreciate you guys as always listening to the show. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, it's definitely important for Chris as we improve the show for the future for you guys. So definitely do that. Follow us on social media. You can follow us on X, Instagram, and TikTok at BD Sportscast. You can just type in BD Sportscast and you can find our content there. If you want to listen to past and present episodes of the Breakdown Sportscast, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and you can also listen to us on Amazon Music. And we are also here doing our live simulcast through YouTube on our Breakdown Sportscast YouTube channel and on our Twitch channel at Breakdown Video Game Cast, where Chris and I are playing College Football 26, probably a little bit of Madden. Who knows? Probably after a while, I'll probably play a little bit of some College Football 26 for you lovely people out there. So if you want to chime in, come in on the chat, definitely follow the channel on there. Right now, Mississippi State is going to be in a playoff game against the Texas Longhorns on my dynasty. So yeah, it's like my third or fourth season. No, it's like my third season. So yeah, it's interesting. Interesting. No, I'd say it's my fourth. But a great season that I'm having so far. So
yeah, build the program up.
Yeah, gotta build that program. So definitely definitely follow us on there. But yeah, guys, we will be back with another episode on Friday. It'll be our prediction show, and we'll go over all of the top games coming up in week 3 of the college football season. So be sure to stay tuned to that. Be sure to follow our YouTube channel to watch all of our content and all of our social media platforms as well, because we're getting knee deep in college football schedule, and we want to provide some great content for you lovely folks out there. So we appreciate it. But until next time, I'm Corey Willis. He's Chris Bolton. You are listening to the Breakdown Sportscast. We will chat with y'all later. Peace.